everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talking Toku, Boston and Bellingham's only podcast about Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman, and all their kaiju friends. I am your host, David.
I'm Brian.
He sure is. And we've got a kind of a special episode for y'all today. It's a little late, but we kind of had the realization of what we were doing in the midst of recording last episode. So last episode was our 50th anniversary celebration for Godzilla vs. Gigan. And 2 days from the recording of that was actually the 1-year anniversary of Talking Toku as a podcast. It was March 17th. So we're a week late, but we figured Godzilla vs. Gigan was more important than that. So this week...
we also didn't really realize until like 10 minutes before wrapping up the recording.
Yeah, because I went to go look, because I knew it was coming up soon, but I didn't know exactly what day it was. And then I looked, it's like this Friday. Whoops.
Oof. Oh, well.
But who cares? Again, Godzilla vs. Gigan is more important than our little podcast. But
It's
it
true.
doesn't matter. Today we're we'll travel back in time to good old 2021. And I have up here on my laptop, I have the whole pitch for Talking Toku. It's got a bunch of cool things. It's got a bunch of unused names. I don't think you've ever even told me. I have not. No. So you're gonna see how pretty shitty these ones are, except for like one of them.
Were they just like ramblings of a madman that you
not really.
typed up? For like 3.
I tried to like keep it with the alliteration theme, because I love my alliterative titles, except for one, which is actually except for 2, but we'll get to that. So there's that. There's like a synopsis of the podcast as a whole. There's an example of like, here's the news segment. Here's the discussions we'll be doing, and there's some episode ideas, guest ideas, segment ideas. And yeah, we'll get all into that. But first, we got some news, a decent amount of news, especially considering last time we didn't have a lot of news at all. But unfortunately, we're making up for it this week. So I'll start off with this one. I'm sure everyone listening is probably well aware by now, but it's with an extraordinarily heavy heart that we inform you of the passing of a tokusatsu legend. Akira Takarada has unfortunately left us at the age of 87, I believe, due to complications with pneumonia. I will let the statement from his family do the talking. I'm going to read this off verbatim. The cherry blossoms have begun blooming in Tokyo. The legendary Japanese actor Akira Takarada has passed away suddenly at the hospital in Tokyo by pneumonia on Monday, 12:31 a.m., March 14th, 2022. He has been working actively worldwide on the front line of entertainment business scenes from 1954, when he made his debut as an actor of Toho New Face 6th Generation. His last work will be his latest film called Sakura, The Cherry Blossoms, the lead role, and will be and executive producer, which will start showing in a theater from April 1st, 2022 in Japan. In consideration of his family's wishes, his funeral has already taken place with only a few relatives on March 18th as a private funeral. The family wishes to tell you that they will not receive any offerings, including letters, flowers, or financial dedications. Your prayers will encourage Akira and his family enough. We will release any future plans or information about him by the website below at akiratakarada.com. That's Akira-Takarada, that is. Once again, we appreciate very much for your thoughts and understanding. Signed, the Takarada Planning Office and the family of Akira Takarada. So, we've talked about how incredible a human being Takarada was on this show multiple times. So, needless to say...
I still say that meeting him was one of the best things I've ever done. So.
And I agree wholeheartedly in that. You know, like you said on the... I don't even know, I can't remember what the theme of the episode was, but when we were talking about all our memories of Godzilla, I think that was just a theme. You said it was like meeting a hero, and that's exactly what it was. We grew up watching his work as kids, being thrilled and in awe of all these movies we're watching, and to meet someone who, had that effect on us in person, and to find out he's like that humble a guy it's an incredible opportunity that we got a chance to meet him, and it's terrible losing him. He was the last of the original 3 Godzilla cast members that was still alive. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I you know it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I was having a good day, and I was gonna be like, all right, let me just message someone on Facebook real quick, and then I'll go like do my laundry or whatever. And the first goddamn thing I see on opening Facebook is that Takarada has passed away. I'm like, well, that ruined my day.
Yeah. Well, and you called me in the middle of work.
Yeah, I immediately dropped everything and went to call you because I was like, Brian's got to know. Like now, I could have messaged you, but again, I knew you were at work, so it might have been a couple hours until you had even seen it. So I'm like, let me give him a call.
Well, yeah. I mean, like the really shitty thing was that like I was like, it was kind of like on my mind because he had like a stroke. Was that right, or was it a heart attack?
I think it was a stroke.
It was a stroke. He had like a really minor stroke, and I was just like thinking about it, and like my grandfather passed away from a stroke, and I was just like, I don't know, it was just kind of like on my mind and like thinking about it because I was like, like that would really suck. Like if like it came back, 'cause strokes tend to do that, where it's like if you have one, and you're more likely to have another one. Same thing with like heart attacks. And then like I saw you called me. I didn't answer because I was
At
doing
work.
high voltage test. I was doing high voltage testing, which means that I didn't want to have my phone on me.
Good call.
So I was like, why did Dave call me? This is probably not good if he's calling me. It's either something really good or something really terrible.
There's nothing in between.
And I was like, and then I like was kind of thinking like, oh no, like there's only like a couple things that this could be about, and Akira Takarada was on my mind, and I was like, oh no.
So it's
So
your fault he
I kind of
passed,
had
Brian.
a feeling. No, I kind of had a feeling that maybe because like well, I was like thinking about it a lot. So then like I called you back, talked about it, and it just sucks.
And yeah, it does. And
It really does suck though, because like I was like actively thinking about it. I
Mhm.
had a feeling that like I always think that like it's almost better to just not even be worried about it and then to have
Yeah.
it happen, because then it's like all of your worst fears happen.
Yeah. I think the worst thing about this is, I mean, we don't like know his family, his son Tetsuya and his wife Maki, but we're acquainted with them. Like we met them at G Fest, and we actually rode the shuttle to the airport back with them. And
Wait, what? We did?
yeah, you didn't know that? You didn't know that was them?
I probably did. I just don't remember.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, that was Takarada's son and his daughter-in-law. Anyways,
Holy shit, that's awesome.
yeah, the worst part about this though is that the news leaked to like Japanese news publications before they went public with it. So like they like didn't even get a chance to process it for themselves before everyone knew, which really
That's
sucks.
so shitty.
Because
That's so shitty.
Tetsuya is like he's such a nice guy, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, really. And it sucks that happened. I mean, it happens for a lot of celebrities. It's kind of hard to avoid sometimes, but it really sucks for them. So my heart goes out to both Tetsuya and Maki Takarada.
Yeah. Yeah, mine too. Oh, that fucking sucks, dude. Paparazzi or news outlets just like fucking suck. Like I get it. Like you want to break a story, but like have some fucking respect, you know?
Yeah.
Christ.
But
I didn't even know about that.
I know.
Fuck.
But all in all, rest in peace, Akira Takarada. Again, there's no other word for him other than legend. Like that's the only word that can describe him and his work for these films, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually watched watched Godzilla 54 a couple days after,
Hmm.
and yeah, just my way of showing my respect.
I watched something with him also, and I will get to that in the what new cool kaiju thing have you been checking out right now, because
Oh,
it's
is
it's
this the
it's a
thing you told
doozy.
me about?
Um, did I tell you about it?
I don't know. Does it have to do with the dub?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
No.
Something about cats.
Oh no. Yeah, okay. I'll mention that briefly. Godzilla and kaiju and film in general, it's not the only thing he does. He's done dubbing roles before. He was Jafar in the Japanese dub of Aladdin. He was the Bendu in the Japanese dub of Star Wars Rebels. And I didn't know this until after he had passed. He was also let me look up the character because I don't know fucking shit about cats. When did that come out? 2019. Yeah, but he was in the Japanese dub of Cats. He played Gus the theater cat, which was Ian Kellen's character. So he dubbed over that character, and I had no idea. And I'm like, oh god, that is cursed as hell.
That is real cursed.
If I should have watched that, you're right. Probably would have been a better choice than what I did watch. But I bet that's not really a kaiju thing.
No,
But
depending on your
is it
idea.
tokusatsu? I don't know.
No.
No, yeah, that they use mostly CG for all the cat stuff. If they're costumes, then I could make the argument. But
Wasn't it like the first movie ever where they like patched it, or they like sent out like a version where the CG was more finished
something
after
like
the fact?
that, yeah.
God. That was one of the last movies that came out before COVID really hit.
It was. I think. Do you remember Jay Franklin?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that was the last movie she saw before COVID happened.
Oh, imagine. I think
know.
you and I lucked out pretty hard with
Yeah.
Underwater.
Well, that was you. I ended up seeing Invisible Man right before everything closed.
I actually just watched that.
Good. It's a damn
with
good movie.
An acquaintance / friend recommended it to me, and I watched it.
It's so good. But
It was pretty good and a very, very satisfying ending.
yeah.
Very satisfying.
All right.
Probably one of the most satisfying endings I've ever seen.
It's coming back, Ryan. The Dooku.
The Dooku, the Dark Universe, the Mythic Universe is. I hope so.
All right.
I love those train wreck movies.
All right. We're getting way off track now. Do you want to tell us about our next news?
Yeah. Seemingly out of nowhere, we've gotten a release date for the second and final season of Pacific Rim: The Black. The season will drop on Netflix on April 19th, a week after the second season of Ultraman. Looks like we're gonna have our work cut out for us. Yeah, I'm optimistic about the next season of Pacific Rim: The Black. I think you and I generally liked it.
I would say we definitely liked it. I really enjoyed it. I'm a little disappointed to hear it's the last season, but I guess if that's the story they want to tell, that's the story they want to tell. But
yeah, I mean, I appreciate that they're kind of just like being like, this is it. Like, this is the last one. Like, because, like, I feel like, if, like, the story's done, like, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well just be like, it's over. Like, I appreciate that. But I was surprised to hear that it's, like, coming out, like, next month.
Yeah, like there was literally no word. Like, we knew we were getting a second season, but there was no word as to when. And like, there wasn't even like an announcement. It was just like, the lists Netflix puts out of like, oh, this is what we're gonna have next month. Like, Pacific Rim: The Black season 2 was just on there, and everyone was like, oh, okay. So there was no official announcement. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. I hope that doesn't mean Netflix doesn't have like, they don't have. I can't think of the word. I've been very bad about this, but they have no faith in it. Is what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. I would actually like to. I don't really know if they ever really put out like viewing numbers, but I feel like it was good. So I feel like people probably watched it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I could be. I could be wrong. I mean, if it got a second season, then obviously people watched the
Yeah.
first season.
So, but then again,
But
Netflix is
I'm
pretty
excited
bad
about
about.
it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll have to discuss on what we want to do because like we have
Yeah.
both Pacific Rim and Ultraman back to back. We'll have to discuss how we want to tackle those two because we're definitely going to cover both of them. It's just a matter of how.
Yeah. Actually, about Pacific Rim the Black, something I did notice specifically with some like a lot of their like Netflix shows, but like the lesser ones, they're
Mm.
really bad about like marketing them.
Mm,
Netflix has a very selective marketing thing. Like
they are pretty
they
bad. Yeah.
choose like a handful of shows to market very heavily, and you can tell that that's where their like majority of their marketing budget
Yeah.
goes to, and then the rest of it is just kind of like, you know, the cards fall where they may kind of thing. Like if people find it, like it, then they'll find it and like it.
Mm-hmm. But
So
sometimes
I feel
Netflix
like
buries
that's
their content sometimes, which I've
yeah.
noticed, which is kind of shitty. But whatever.
I mean, Netflix is kind of Netflix is definitely one of the shittier of the streaming platforms.
Oh, I
let's be
know.
real.
Like the whole thing about they're really cracking down on password sharing is awful.
Yeah, I mean it's okay because like I don't really use
I don't use
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah, Netflix is definitely the streaming service I use the least.
You know, HBO Max actually has done a big old turnaround for me. I love HBO Max. now.
They're. I mean, the fact that they have most of the Criterion collection is like a big plus.
Yep.
But
Yeah, they got a lot of good shit
HBO is
on there.
great.
And now that I own all of Evangelion, I don't have to go onto Netflix to watch it to suck my cock.
Yeah. So, but now but you still got to use Amazon Prime to watch the rebuild movies. So
Yeah, but Amazon Prime is fine. Amazon Prime doesn't need to crack down on password sharing. They make more money than God.
but it is Amazon, and like it sucks to support Amazon. Oh well.
Yeah,
It's a
that's true.
double-edged sword there.
It does, but I'm not giving them my money personally. It's
That's
my
true.
mom's.
Yeah, I don't pay
So-
for Prime. It's my dad.
My mom doesn't care.
Anyways, moving on. That's actually not all for kaiju anime. We'll actually be getting a anime adaptation of the hit shonen manga Kaiju number 8. I've heard really good things about the manga. My DCM co-host Howard Miller was the one who told me about it, and I was at Target one day just with some friends, and I was like, "Hey, they got the first volume of Kaiju number 8. I'm gonna pick that up because I've heard good things." And that was like 2 months ago. I still haven't read it. So, but now that
Pretty on brand for you.
I know it really is. But now that we're getting an official anime adaptation, I guess I'll have to read it finally. Yeah, from what I understand, it's about a guy who can turn into a kaiju. So kind of like Ultraman, but instead of a big man, it's a big kaiju.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and the art is, I've seen bits and pieces of the art. The art is really, really good, as most manga art is. But yeah.
I got lots of good artists over there.
They sure do. So, hey, it's kaiju and it's anime, which means Brian will have to watch anime, and that's always a good thing.
Nope. I've only got room for one.
We'll see about that.
One
But there's
at a
already
time,
hold on,
please.
Brian, there's two. There's the Black and Ultraman.
Oh, I said one at a time, please.
What do you mean one at a time?
I can only watch one at a time. I cannot commit to two at a time.
But what about all right, so we're gonna binge the Black and Ultraman, I assume.
So we're gonna binge the Black, and then you have to give me a week to like filter it out of my system so that I can watch.
Well, there's a good thing that Ultraman comes out a week after the Black.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
or the other way around. Sorry.
Well, that's still perfect.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
You're watching anime, and that is not that's not
with our line of work. With our line of work, I've already come to the conclusion that I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Too bad.
I've made my
historically
peace.
Historically, has it ever not worked out for you?
No, not really.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes I just get like weirded out.
Yeah, but that's that
But
comes
then,
with the
yeah,
that comes with the job.
I don't know. That's true. I do get weirded out very easily,
Hmm.
and then I like come to terms with it. I'm like, okay, I didn't make this, so I can
My
be
point is
okay.
you have enjoyed every anime we've watched for the show so far.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we've only watched a couple though.
We've watched Singular Point, we've watched Evangelion, and we watched The Black.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of those
Okay.
have been very good to pretty good.
Yes. Yeah.
So
All right. Well, let's move on.
let's move on.
While details are spotty, it appears as though we are getting another MonsterVerse film after all. Australian morning show Sunrise let the cat out of the bag that a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong would be filming in southeast Queensland and is expected to bring an economic boost of 79 million to the region. Wow. Whether this is the rumored Son of Kong film or something entirely new is still unknown. But according to Production Weekly, Adam Wingard is attached to direct a new MonsterVerse film that is currently titled Son of Kong. So all signs point to yes. Yeah. Huh. I'm. I don't know. I didn't even know that this was happening though. Like when you told me about it.
I mean, a lot of people didn't. It was again. It
No,
was
I didn't
literally out of
even
the
know
blue.
about the whole. I didn't know that they were. I don't know. For some reason, it just felt like MonsterVerse was just ending by
Well, that's what a
itself.
lot of people thought because after Godzilla versus Kong, there was nothing confirmed, and I mean, we there was talk of a Son of Kong film. I mean, we're getting the Skull Island anime on Netflix whenever the hell that comes out, and then we're getting
Yeah.
that what is it, Apple TV Plus show. But there was
Yeah.
there's nothing in the film world confirmed. But Australia was kind enough to let us know that the MonsterVerse ain't dead just yet.
I love Australia, except for their spiders.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, hey, actually, something that I wanted to bring up last episode, completely forgot about.
Okay.
You know how there's like an invasive species of like spiders out on the East Coast, and they're like from Japan.
Oh yeah.
And they look so similar to Kamanga.
Really nice.
Yeah, and you know what they do?
They float, right? They float down.
They float around because get this, they make webs that turn into like basically parachutes, and their silk is like golden.
Nice. So it's just like Kumanga in Final Wars specifically.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah, specifically.
damn.
And I completely forgot to bring it up last episode because I was. And I had mentioned that I've been watching Final Wars, and then like when we finished recording and I went off to go shower or whatever, I thought about it. I'm like, oh shit, because my coworker was talking about it, and I looked up like pictures and stuff of them. I'm like, oh, that's gross, but also that looks.
You heard it here first. Kaiju are real.
They're just much smaller in real life.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll hear about this new MonsterVerse film.
Yeah, I'm honestly
Eventually.
surprised that we haven't gotten any more details from Warner Brothers and Legendary since this like came out. Like the fact that they haven't said anything is weird.
I have a theory.
Okay.
And it's more about kind of like the movies as a whole right now.
Okay.
So I feel like I want to say like the Marvel approach is that you announce films like 5 years in advance,
Right?
Maybe more, and then like people always have something to look forward to, yada yada yada. So you always feel like there's more shit coming, and MonsterVerse kind of started to do that a little bit, over like a shorter timetable,
Mm-hmm.
and then they like stopped, and then like you have a lot of movies that have kind of stopped, like movie franchises that have kind of laid off the brakes with their big timetables, and I guarantee it's COVID because no one wants to make committed plans because they're always afraid that they're going to have to push it back, because the act of pushing back a movie is probably a lot more stressful and obnoxious than we make it out to be.
Very true.
So that's why I feel like maybe we just haven't heard a lot of news in terms of like what they're planning on doing for the future, because they're probably just like not wanting to commit to any plans. Like, on the back end, they're probably allocating funds, writing scripts, whatever, figure out what they're gonna do. But like, they're probably not gonna want to make any of it public because they're like, I don't fucking know when this shit's coming out.
Well,
like they're not gonna want to commit to marketing until they know exactly when it's coming out.
I mean, I guess, but like, if they're already going into production like fairly soon, like you would think that we would know anything, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're filming for sure, but what I'm assuming is that they're probably I don't actually know. Do they do like I imagine they either do they do like CG and filming at like the same time?
No, that's all post.
It's all post? Okay. That's what I figured. Because like I imagine like sometimes like maybe they would have entirely CG stuff worked out ahead of time and then they would do like work on it. But I don't know how all that shit works. But like what I'm assuming is that with these movies, the CG probably takes up the majority of their time and effort at this point. But I don't know. Most likely though, we're not going to hear shit officially about this film probably until like next year, maybe longer.
Maybe. We'll see. Oh well. Well, anyways, last news story, because there is never not Middle Creek Ultraman news. Set to be released last week. Except for last week, yeah. Set to be released on June 28th, a double feature release of Ultraman Zerth and Ultraman Zerth 2, as well as Ultraman Kids 3000. The latter is a kind of surprising addition to their Ultraman repertoire, as I would have expected something like Ultraman Towards the Future or Ultraman The Ultimate Hero, the Australian and American co-productions respectively, before getting an anime aimed at younger kids. Once again, I'm questioning as to whether I'll actually get that. I'm like, man, I want to get into Ultraman. I want to see all the Ultraman, but do I really want to watch that? I don't know. We'll see.
Are you a real fan, Dave?
I don't know. Am I a real fan?
I don't know. I mean, you're probably in the same boat that I'm in.
I mean, I've seen more Ultraman than you, Brian, so I'm more of a fan than you.
You have seen more Ultraman than me.
Yeah, and you own them, and I'm sure you still haven't seen anything.
I watched Ultra Q.
Yeah. Anything else?
I watched the new Ultraman that you made me watch. Was thoroughly underwhelmed by it.
That's what I thought.
Boy, was it fine.
Boy, did it exist.
Yup.
All right. Well. Yeah. So, yeah, Ultraman, Mill Creek, Blu-rays. There you go. That's what I got for you. Enjoy. Yep.
Good news.
I want to comment on our r/Godzilla segment, because I saw something the other day that at first I'm like, oh, good, a post for our r/Godzilla segment. But then I realized, oh, this is just a post that we've done before. This is the same exact kind of post we've done like 50 goddamn times in a row. So
that's
now,
why it's hard.
Yeah,
that's why it's hard to do the r/Godzilla block, because it's
all the same goddamn shit.
You can find a cringe post, but it's probably a cringe post that we've covered before that's just been reposted.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, this sucks. I want to talk about a bad post that is original, I guess.
At this point, you're probably more likely to find a good post.
You know what? Maybe that'll be, this is officially year 2 of Talking Toku. Maybe we'll, in year 2, we'll be more positive and we'll showcase good things. I mean, we did that,
and then in year 3, we'll go back to doing
in year 3, enough time will have passed and we can go back to doing awful posts.
Checks watch. Oh, it's time to shit on our.
Look at the time.
Again. Would you look at the time? Oh my god!
I wouldn't mind doing that. That would be fun.
I mean, it would be fine, except for the fact that we haven't really done an r/Godzilla thing in like 4 episodes
since we came back for 2022. We have not done a single Godzilla post or Godzilla post.
Yep.
Well, anyways, let's get on to our main topic, our history of talking Toku, as it were.
From 1 year to birth.
Well, not necessarily, because I want to bring this up a little bit before we actually get into the actual the pitch itself. There's a little bit of prehistory. There's some precedence here.
Yes, there is. I remember it.
Do you? I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Maybe.
Okay. You probably know one of the things I'm talking about, but I don't know if you'll know the other thing I'm talking about. So
I think I might know one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and we'll get to it because it was the thing that we might both be thinking about was another was in the running for a title of this podcast. Anyways, so the idea to do a podcast about Godzilla with my good pal Brian came about. That's you. Came about a long time ago. I want to say probably as early as 2017, 2018, maybe.
That's about right.
Because your late stepfather Ken had come into Rite Aid, where I don't know if you were still working there at the time, but I was still working there. I don't think I was.
So
he'd come into Rite Aid where I was working because, you and I were friends. I would stop and talk to him. And
we're friends.
Yeah, Brian, we're only podcast. We're coworkers now. We're not friends. This is strictly business.
All right.
So yeah, and I guess you had shown both him and your mom the original Godzilla recently, and
because they'd never seen it.
They'd never seen it, and Ken was telling me, like, he said you guys should start a podcast to talk about this kind of stuff. I'm like, huh. We should do that. And then nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
It sat around in my head as something I'd want to do, but I just never acted on it. I don't think I even ever brought it up to you until right this second. Yeah.
I mean, he told me basically the exact same thing. So.
He told us both, and neither of us told the other.
Yeah, you and I have a real bad problem of hearing things, thinking, "Hey, that's a good idea," and then never ever doing anything with it.
That's funny.
Why do you think like half of the fucking episodes for this show start out as one thing, and then we immediately shrug it off a day before, and then are like, we should do something else.
Oh God, it's funny. Anyways, so. The podcast idea went pretty quiet for a good couple years, and then I want to say 3-4 years ago now. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but for some reason I texted you one day and I was like, "Hey, Brian, do you want to come out to Fitchburg and do a Godzilla talk show on the radio once every other week?"
Thinking about that drive,
yeah. And you said sure, and so you came out, and we were wrapping up a session at the radio station, Fitchburg State Radio, WXPL 91.3. Go listen; they're a great station. We were just finishing up a session where we have a band come in and we broadcast their performance live over the airwaves. We were just finishing that up, and you were just kind of standing there awkwardly with me and no one else you knew at the time.
That's me.
Yeah. So we did that. We got in the station. I had a bunch of music from the first. How did we go? I think we went up through Invasion of Astro Monster. We had a 2-hour time slot. We kind of rambled a bit. It was kind of terrible, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we were trying to fit a discussion of 5 goddamn movies into a 2-hour time slot, which is a difficult thing to do. I mean, we take close to 2 hours to discuss one movie on this podcast. So you can imagine,
which is a better format.
It
Because
is a
we have
much
more
better
time.
format. So you can imagine how discussing 5 fucking movies in a 2-hour time slot would be difficult.
Oh God, yeah. Holy shit.
So that short-lived radio show, we only did that one that one episode, that one show. Never did it again.
Yep.
Mostly because Brian didn't want to make the drive out again, which is understandable.
It
I don't
is.
blame him.
Okay, listen. It was like 2 hours of driving.
Probably because you were driving through rush hour traffic. No, it wasn't rush hour. It was on a Saturday. It's like a 1-hour drive. I've made that drive multiple times. It's a 1-hour drive.
I'm talking there and back.
Oh, there and back. Yeah, that's fair.
And also Massachusetts roads.
Also fair.
Notoriously bad, especially in Fitchburg.
Fitchburg has some pretty shitty roads. Yes, you are very correct.
Holy God.
So yeah, we did that one show. The show, the radio show was called G Talk, because that was the only clever quote unquote title I could think of.
Yeah, maybe you should have let that one marinate a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, so we did that, and then we never did it ever again. And yeah, so that's the prehistory of Talking Toku. And then
someone call it ancient history.
Ancient history, yeah, of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then so
pretty ancient now.
2021 comes along. I'm on internship for Fitchburg State University. I'm interning at Melrose, Massachusetts Television, the public access station for, you guessed it, Melrose, Massachusetts. And one of my assignments given to me for my internship was, hey, pitch a podcast. So immediately I'm thinking, oh man,
it's my time.
It's time. So I basically immediately texted you and I was like, hey Brian, you want to try this again and hope it actually works? And you were very receptive to the idea, and so again, the assignment was to pitch a podcast. So I wrote up a 2-page pitch that we're gonna go over right now. And again,
right.
Brian, you've never seen this. This will be all new to you.
I feel like you like described it to me like very loosely, but I've never actually seen the pitch at all.
Well, you're gonna hear the pitch. So I started off with potential names. So here are some of the names that I went through for this podcast. So we have Toku Time with an one-word exclamation point at the end.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
I'm glad we didn't go with it.
Glad we didn't go there. Okay. Toku Talk, which is it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Talking Toku, which hey, that's the one we ended up going with.
Sure is.
G Talk, our old radio show.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't go with that one.
And this name came from some of the other people here at the station. Podzilla Cast, which is it's a clever name. I like it.
I actually like that one.
Yeah, it's good. But I still think Talking Toku is better because that's the one we went with.
What about just calling it Podzilla?
I think that's what it was. But I think the idea was I think Podzilla was the name, was the work in progress name of the podcast, but then there was already like social media accounts called Podzilla, so Podzilla Cast would have been the social media name, but again, didn't matter because we didn't end up going with the name.
Damn.
Oh well. So yeah,
we should rebrand.
Should rebrand. A year into the show, we should rebrand.
Yeah.
We just got the @TalkingToku handle back on Instagram though, Brian. We can't let it go now.
That's fair.
All right. So, moving on. I got a little 2-paragraph synopsis here that I'll read off for you. With Godzilla vs. Kong quickly becoming one of the most anticipated blockbusters of the year, the trailer having racked up nearly 16 million views in the first 24 hours and is currently, at the time of me writing this, the fourth most liked movie trailer of all time on YouTube behind Spider-Man, Far From Home, Avengers Endgame, and Avengers Infinity War, the kaiju genre has never been more mainstream than it is now. But what if people decide to give other kaiju properties a try? Look no further than... I initially had Toku Talk in the paragraph. Look no further than Toku Talk, your one-stop shop for all things kaiju, tokusatsu, and tokusatsu-inspired. Godzilla, Gamera, Kong, Ultraman, and more. Not to mention indie films and anime like the Raiga Trilogy, Howl from Beyond the Fog, Attack on Titan, SSSS Gridman, to name a few. We'll be going into discussions about specific movies and TV shows, talking about any news. The week of my writing has been a surprisingly heavy news week that relates to kaiju/tokusatsu. An episode on the music of Akira Ifukube and Masaru Sato, the two heavyweight composers that carried the original Showa-era Godzilla series, would be incredible. The first episode might talk about the original King Kong vs. Godzilla and the impact that it had and how it led us to a rematch 59 years in the making. Maybe an episode for beginners, people who have enjoyed the legendary films and are interested in more. Where's the best place to start for Godzilla? What are some underrated films? What kind of impact did Ultraman have on Western television? Is Pacific Rim Uprising really that bad? In parentheses, yes it is. Could Desghidorah have just torn Mothra Leo in two during their first battle when he picked him up in his jaws and ended the 1990s Mothra trilogy before it became too awful a film series? What's the deal with Pulgasari? Is Clifford the Big Red Dog a kaiju? All these questions can and will be answered in, at this point, I had officially committed to the name Talking Toku, so all these questions can and will be answered in Talking Toku.
Damn. I can't believe we still haven't done that Pacific Rim Uprising episode.
Oh, it's coming, Brian. You know it's coming.
That one has been in the works since we started.
Maybe
I'm pretty sure we've mentioned it more than anything else.
We really have. Maybe that can finally be that'll be our next episode. Maybe we can finally do Pacific Rim Uprising.
All right, well, I'll have to stop at Trader Joe's to grab some kind of whiskey.
Yeah, I'm already this week going to buy booze because I realized I'm surprisingly low on everything except whiskey because I still have fucking three plus bottles of whiskey because of the 3 bottles of whiskey you got me for Christmas that one year, plus the other one.
If only you can send them to me.
I think sending alcohol across state lines is illegal, Brian.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is, yes.
Damn.
I don't think you can ship alcohol across state lines.
That sucks. Can I bring it on the plane?
I mean, probably not as a carry-on, but yeah, maybe.
Damn. Oh well.
But yeah, that was the synopsis, and we've actually done a couple of those ideas I had put on there. You know, we did the King Kong versus Godzilla. That was our series premiere.
Yep.
We did that.
I remember that one.
We did that beginner episode. I think that's the only ones we've done.
I mean, yeah. Well, we're going to do Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh, we are.
It's going to happen.
You know, I think that what kind of impact did Ultraman have on Western television? I think I lifted that directly from from my final paper in my history of television class at Fitchburg. I think that
really.
I think that was my my final paper topic was the impact that Ultraman had, because like my basically my thesis was like Ultraman was like the first tokusatsu series, which led to stuff like Super Sentai, which then got picked up in America, and now we have the Power Rangers phenomenon, and that's all thanks to Ultraman.
Hell yeah!
So that was my paper. I probably still have that paper somewhere. I don't. You know what? No, it's
I kind of want to read that.
It's probably not as good as you're expecting it to be.
Probably not, but it would still be interesting.
But I think I also tied like Ultra Q into stuff like the Outer Limits and the X-Files as well. So I tied it into that as well.
I can see that.
If I could remember the login for my Fitchburg State email, I would bring it up, but I don't remember the login. So sucks. You're not gonna get to hear anything about it.
Well, I'll live.
I mostly just want to know how I did on the paper. Maybe I can message my professor, because I am friends with him on Facebook. I'm not going to do that right now, not on the show.
No, not on the show. We're recording here. Let's be professional.
Brian, when have we ever been professional on this show?
Oh yeah, shit. That's right. Never mind.
I know friend of the show Jared said we are professional, but I think he was just being nice.
Well, I think friend of the show Jared is wrong.
I think you're right. God. All right. Anyways, so I have an outline for the hypothetical first episode here. So, first episode.
What was the hypothetical first episode?
Well, let me fucking read off, and maybe you'll hear. God, be fucking patient.
Sorry, I just feel like I haven't been talking a whole lot this episode because you did all like the original work for the show.
I know, but that's okay. I don't mind. Assuming we record prior to Godzilla vs. Kong's release, which, hey, spoiler alert, we did.
Because we were so excited and enthusiastic.
Well, we were younger and happier back then. News segment. Godzilla singular point coverage will be main talking point. Monster Seafood Wars Blu-ray up for pre-order. More recent news depending on when we record. Those are the three things of news I had.
So good.
I know, right? Pacific Rim The Black discussion, ? Depends on where we both are in watching it. Maybe in-depth discussion of each episode at a time. God, could you have imagined if we had done it that way?
Dude, yeah, let's talk about Pacific Rim The Black and also Godzilla vs. Kong.
No, like talking about like we do a discussion for each episode on one episode, like, you know, this week we discuss episode 1. Next week we discuss episode 2, etc.
Oh God,
yeah, that would have been terrible.
No, we'd have to do an episode every day.
I know. I don't know what I was on when I had that idea.
Especially because like a solid, a good portion of Pacific Rim: The Black is filler. So
yeah, a little bit, yeah. And then King Kong versus Godzilla discussion, in parentheses, main topic. And I actually think I have some stuff here that we didn't even touch upon in the episode. So
really?
Yeah. General thoughts on the film, pretty self-explanatory. Production history, early concept of King Kong meets Frankenstein with Willis O'Brien. We definitely didn't talk about that.
No, we did not.
Differences between original and Japanese versus American cut. We did cover that, but I had in parentheses, in all caps as well, no multiple endings, which I don't know if we talked about that.
I don't think we did. I don't remember.
Point is, King Kong versus Godzilla, the different cuts, there is only one ending. There's that myth that in the Japanese cut Godzilla wins and then the American cut King Kong wins. That is false. It is a myth. The only difference, it's the same exact ending. The only difference is in the Japanese version you hear both of them roar, and in the American version you just hear Kong roar. That's all it is.
Yep.
Yay, editing an episode 1 year later.
Yes.
It's all
yeah, let me just clear up a little myth from an episode we recorded 1 whole year ago.
I'm pretty sure most people at this point, at least most fans, know that's a myth, but you know, I don't know. Maybe some youngins don't know that. I don't know.
Maybe some idiot on r/Godzilla could make a post about it.
God, we're so mean.
We really are.
Tackle the message of the film and how Godzilla vs. Kong actually proves its point. We definitely did that first part, but I don't think we talked about the second part. Oh well.
I don't know. You know, I was thinking maybe we could go back someday and take a look again at Godzilla vs.
A revamped
Kong.
version?
A revamp version for. I mean, we could have done it for this one, but maybe some other time.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Does the following film, Mothra vs. Godzilla, do the same exact thing but better? I would argue no, because that was during the time when I thought King Kong vs. Godzilla was only okay, but then I rewatched it for that episode and I was like, holy shit, this movie is so much better than I thought it was.
Yeah, I fucking love the movie.
So, that's just me being a fucking idiot, apparently.
I don't know why, but I don't remember if I said this like in the original episode, but like I was under the impression that King Kong versus Godzilla was like bad, and then I rewatched it and I had a great time.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
I feel like it's because I've been told by other people that the movie sucks, so I just was just like, oh, did it suck? I guess it sucked because everyone didn't like it. Peer pressure, man.
It's a hell of a thing.
It is.
Does the comedy work? I think we talked about that. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. How does this lead to Ebirah Horror of the Deep and King Kong Escapes? We definitely didn't talk about that.
No. How does it lead to Ebirah Horror of the Deep?
Well, because initially Ebirah Horror of the Deep was pitched as a Kong movie, not a Godzilla movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how that split up. He split off from the film. I'd have to look into it more, but yeah, originally Kong was going to be in Godzilla's place. You know, that's why it's on an island basically. And then I haven't even seen King Kong Escapes, so I couldn't even tell you. But all I know about King Kong Escapes is that Mechanicong and Gorosaurus are in it, and also it was a joint production between Toho and, if you can believe it, Rankin Bass, the production company responsible for all the stop motion Christmas specials.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, that's something, all right. And then
that's interesting.
I know. I would love to watch King Kong Escapes. I'm gonna be like I mentioned last time. I'm following a friend of the show, Jared. I like how this is the third time we've talked about him now, and we keep putting friend of the show. So his name is no longer Jared. His name is first name friend of the show, last name Jared.
We should ask him to change his Instagram handle to friend of the show, Jared.
Oh my god. But yeah, I've been following Jared with his slow Showa Toho marathon. So King Kong Escapes, I will be watching that at some point because he's going very slow. He's doing like one every couple of weeks.
Well, you got to pace yourself. So
exactly. So, and that was in 1967, so it's going to be a while before we get to that. But
yep,
that's neither here nor there. And then finally, how does this lead to Godzilla versus Kong? Which I don't think we did. Did we do that? I don't think we did.
I don't think so. I don't really know how we would have done that because like the movie wasn't out.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But you know what? It did.
I can tell you right now that both movies have almost nothing in common.
But they
except for Godzilla fighting Kong.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like they have Godzilla and they have Kong.
I mean, yeah, they have both that, but other than that, both movies have nothing in common.
Yeah, pretty much. We should if you want to do a revamp episode, we should watch them back to back and see. That could be
like a comparison.
Feature. Yeah, that could be fun.
But I would actually be down for that. I feel like watching both and then just like talking about them,
and then you'll really see how good of a movie King Kong versus Godzilla is, because you'll see Godzilla versus Kong and be like, ew, this movie sucks.
Yeah, because I won't be fucking bored for like 3/4 of it.
We're so, man. Remember when we did the Godzilla versus Kong episode and we were like relatively nice to it?
I still listen.
And now we're
I
just
still
like
think
straight dunking on it.
I still think it's good. Like I still had a good time watching it, and I feel like if I was to go watch it again, I would still have a good time watching it. But I guess I just get salty about how like unrewatchable.
Yeah, I like
monster movies,
unless
like,
it is specifically for something like another podcast episode. I cannot see myself ever rewatching that movie.
The only MonsterVerse movie the only two MonsterVerse movies that I can rewatch and have a good time is Godzilla 2014 and Skull Island.
I can rewatch King of the Monsters. Like I'm able to have fun with that movie a lot, and it is fun, kind of fun drunk. I'm
sorry, I get so pissed off by that fucking scientist guy. I actually can't watch it. Like my blood pressure goes through the fucking roof. I get so pissed off. I'm like, can you shut the fuck up? And you know what? I'd be like, if he was only in like a couple scenes, I just fast forward through it. But you fucking can't. because it cuts back to
Here
him
we
so
go
often.
again.
It's so often. Oh my god, I can't do it. Someone needs to make a cut of the movie where he's gone.
Oh my god.
Replace him with fucking whatever, the lady who gets crushed in like out of fucking nowhere in the snow thing.
This is
Replace
going
them.
very well.
Replace them.
Brian, please.
Just, it makes the movie so much better.
Brian, we've been trying to get away from dunking on the Monsterverse. We've been doing so well.
I know, it's like an addiction.
Jesus
All right.
Christ.
Okay,
I'm
done.
moving on.
Yep, we're good.
And then finally, of that first episode, hypothetical outro teasing what's to come. I don't even know if we teased what's to come.
I don't know. I think we just were like, we might cover this, maybe.
Yeah. So I have after that, if the first episode records after Godzilla vs. Kong, the main topic will be that. A Pacific Rim The Black discussion will then likely be its own episode later down the line, covering the entire series. Other than that, the news segment will remain largely unchanged, as Godzilla's Singular Point will still be upcoming, and will be the next big thing covered on the podcast, assuming it releases worldwide on Netflix on the date specified on the poster. I don't think it did. I think
No.
because I think that date was the broadcast date for Japan and not internationally. So oh well.
Yeah, and I remember that I tried to get it through VPN. It didn't work.
That's right, you did.
So.
You mentioned that on the show, I think.
Well, hold on.
It worked, but you didn't have English subtitles, right?
It did work. There was no English subtitles, which sucked.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so it was either I wait for the show like a normal person, or I learn Japanese in
one of those
months.
things is significantly easier than the other.
Yep. Waiting like a normal person.
Yes. So after that, I have a list of guests I wanted to get on the show. So right off the bat, we have Matt Frank.
Hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet. I also just because I for shits and giggles I put a bunch of because again I had to pitch this to someone. I had like the things that all these people worked on. So for Matt, I had Red Man the Kaiju Hunter and the Arrow Video Gamera box set, etc. Bob Eggleton, who did Godzilla in Hell and the Dark Horse Godzilla King of the Monsters series, as well as untold amounts of other stuff. John DeSantis and Brett Hominick for our music episode. That still hasn't happened. I would still like to do that episode at some point, though. I don't know if we'll get them on.
That may take. We should probably plan that one out at least a month before.
That's a good idea.
I feel like if we'll get into the other stuff later in the continue.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna butcher your name, my friend, Sean Sumagase. I really don't know how. I've known him for like over 10 years. I've never known how to say his last name, but yeah, Sean from Project Nautilus. He's a cosplayer who has literally the best Godzilla. He goes above and beyond for cosplays. He literally does the same kind of stuff they do in making actual suits at Toho. Like that's how far he goes.
I mean, like, if you've spent a day on social media following any kind of Godzilla page, you've seen his work.
Yeah, like I've been seeing a lot of his work recently, like just shared around. But yeah, he first debuted. He did a 2014 suit, and his current one is Godzilla 2002. That is. I can't even tell you like how much of an improvement it is, and that's not even to say the 2014 suit isn't good, because it is. It's just that the 2002 suit he did like straight up looks professional. That's how good that Sean is. Jared Faust, friend of the show, from Xenofauna.
That one happened.
That one did happen, yeah, and I'm very I stand by that was one of our best episodes. I think I think everyone had a lot of fun on that episode.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Another name I'm gonna be really terrible at pronouncing. This one even more so than Sean's. I'm just gonna try to read this and sound it out in my head before I attempt to say it. Chris Mirja Hanger from Toho Kingdom. He's one of the main guys who updates that website. He also texts me at random points about like, hey, I'm interviewing this person. Do you have any questions? And I always say yeah, I'll send them to your email in a little bit, and then I never do.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to get him. We definitely need to get him on the episode for that.
Yeah, Chris is a good guy. I like him. Daisuke Sato, the director of Howl from Beyond the Fog and producer of Rush of the God. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And Rashad Santiago, who is I first learned of him on the Sci-Fi Channel competition show Face Off, where he won for that season. And he's directed Beasts of the Water and Terror from Beyond Beyond. He's a big kaiju nut. I've been seeing some. He does a lot of puppets. He did a puppet of the Exogorth from Empire Strikes Back and the Rancor from Return of the Jedi recently. But he's done a bunch of kaiju stuff as well, and he's really good. I mean, there's a reason he won Face Off when he was on that season. And I would love to have him on. He's a very nice guy. And I actually have one of my friends, Ian, is actually like really close with him. So, and you know what? I would actually love to get Ian on this show too. He's a fantastic. You, Brian, would know him as Scrooge, and that's not a man you can forget. I don't think.
Nope. Definitely cannot forget.
Yeah,
Met him at Chief House.
Yeah, I would love to get Scrooge on the show. He's one of the coolest guys I know. I think he'd have a damn good time on this show. I should text him. I haven't actually spoken to him in a while. Maybe it's time.
You should do that.
So that's all the guest ideas I had. And again, only one of those has happened. Whether or not any of these others do, who knows? Oh well.
I'd like to think maybe.
You're optimistic.
Maybe if we ever get big enough, maybe.
Well, we'll see about that. So I have some other segment ideas. So first off, we have the one that we do have, Wink Takecorn. What new cool kaiju thing are you checking out right now? We've had that since the inception of the show, I'm happy to say. These other two we have not, because I don't even think I mentioned them to you, and honestly, I don't think they're even that interesting of segments. We have pick your favorite monster from X franchise, favorite movie, favorite ability, etc.
Oh, that's so boring. I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, it is pretty boring. And then finally, fan FAQ, if we actually get any questions. And to this day, we haven't. So we haven't done the fan FAQ segment. But, hey, if you're listening, if you have any questions, let us know at any of our socials, preferably Instagram, because that's the only one I check.
Yep. It's the only one I get notifications for.
Yeah. So if you text us on Instagram, we'll answer your question on the show. It's simple as that. Simple as that. You can comment on one of our posts, because every single post, the only comments I get are people being like, "Oh, go promote your podcast on this promotional account." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to. I'm not a fucking sellout. Get out of here."
It's so obnoxious.
It really is obnoxious. I'm like, God, shut
up.
I
remember seeing that. We should ban them.
They're like all different accounts though. It would not work. I don't think.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and it's like every time I post, it's like not even 5 minutes, and I've already got a comment saying like, "Oh, promoted on Reality Records" or whatever the fuck it's called. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not a filthy sellout. I do this. I
get those notifications too.
Yeah, it's annoying. So then I have a list of topics. Again, some of which we've done, some of which we haven't. So we have King Kong versus Godzilla. We've done that. Godzilla versus Kong. We've done that. Pacific Rim: The Black, maybe. We've done that. Gateway films, in parentheses, how do I get into these movies? We've done that. And then we get into some stuff that we haven't done. Lost/unmade films, such as King Kong appears in Edo, Jan de Bont's Godzilla, the sequel to Godzilla 1998. We've never talked about any of those, and I would love to.
Those would be some cool episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like just to piss off the r/Godzilla crowd, we should talk about the unmade sequel to 98.
Well, I wanted to go into that if we ever get around to doing that episode on Godzilla the series, because it shares A little bit with one of the earlier episodes of that show. Not as much as I initially thought, but it's mostly just the monster that's in it that's similar. But yeah, I mean, we should definitely I would love to do an episode on lost films. I mean, King Kong Appears in Edo is like, I want to say that even predates the original Great Buddha Arrival in terms of old kaiju films. So King Kong Appears in Edo was in 1938. What about The Great? That may have been,
that's old.
That may have been in the 20s, I think, now that I think about it. No, okay, no, it's 1934. So it's Great Buddha is still older than King Kong Appears in Edo, but those are both still lost films. So we could definitely talk about both of them.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very interesting, not really typical thing we talk about, because usually our episodes come down to discussion/reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess it's still technically discussion, but
the MonsterVerse thus far, what works, what doesn't. I don't know if we've done an episode on that explicitly, but we can probably do like a supercut of everything every time we talk about the MonsterVerse on this show, and it'll make a whole episode.
I feel like that episode has that every episode has been that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
because we mentioned it at least once, even in this one, which was supposed to be a non-movie specific discussion,
and you just had to trash it. You just couldn't help yourself.
Nope, I could not. Sorry.
Oh, God. Moving on. The music of Akira Ifukube and its cultural impact. We haven't done that, but again, that's going to take at least a month of planning to do, I think.
Yeah, I think that one we should actually put like some legit effort into planning.
Yeah, that would be good. Ultra Q, we've done that actually.
We did do that.
Yeah. Underrated.
That was actually one of my favorite episodes to record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe you should follow it up and watch Ultraman, Brian.
I think you're right.
Just
and I've got a whole lot of time on my hands, so I might. My catchphrase. I've got a lot of time on my hands.
It really has become your catchphrase on this
show.
And
then I end up not having time on my hands.
Underrated kaiju films such as Ebirah Horror of the Deep, All Monsters Attack, and Gamera the Brave. We haven't done that. That could be fun.
That could be fun. I feel like it might be cool to do like have it as kind of like a subtitle. So we do like a movie review, and then it's like its own category of episode, you know? So you know how we do like new movie reviews or like discussion topics, but another one could be just like underrated movies or like hidden gems or whatever.
Yeah, that could be.
You could apply that to like fucking Rampage. When we talked about Rampage, that one was a hidden gem.
that is kind of underrated, I feel. I think most people will kind of kaiju fans, I feel, liked it, but the general populace was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that was one of the few like movies that we talked about where we were just like glowing about it.
Yeah, no, I don't, because it's a good movie. It's fun.
Really good movie.
It's Dwayne Johnson fighting giant monsters. What more could you possibly want? I watched that with my dad too, because he had never seen it.
Dwayne Johnson being the giant monster.
I still stand by that we should have gotten that in the film. I stand by that Dwayne Johnson should have, like, in the final battle, taken some of that serum or whatever and grown to a giant Dwayne Johnson and fought the monsters.
I agree.
That is the only thing I'm mad about that we didn't get in that movie.
I agree.
Would have been a 10 out of 10 if we had gotten that, but unfortunately, because that didn't happen, it's only an 8 out of 10. It takes a full 2 stars away.
Oh, that's so sad. Such a missed opportunity.
It really is. Anyways, revisiting the Mothra trilogy, I think I put that there because at the time I was doing exactly that and watching their Mothra trilogy for the first time in like probably 10 years and having an absolutely terrible time of doing it because they're
Is that
bad
the one
movies.
that I own
Yes.
too? Oh, okay. Oh
Yes.
wow, so we could actually
We
feasibly
could.
do that.
I
The
don't know
question
if
is,
we
do I want to?
I mean, have you ever seen them?
No.
Well, you should see them at least once, I think.
Okay.
They're bad.
All right. Well, if they're bad, then
The third one's the
I don't
best
know.
out of all of them.
Listen, I literally got them for free thanks to you.
Thanks to me, because I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you were. You were like, hey, I'm gonna enter a competition where I might get these for free, but then I'm gonna go ahead and buy them anyways.
I have never won a competition in my life, so I am automatically assumed I'm not gonna win this one, and so I bought the Blu-rays anyways. And then all of a sudden, hey, you won, and I'm like, oh, okay, Brian, do you want these?
Like the funniest, like, of course that would happen to you.
I know,
kind of
it really is. God.
Oh my god.
But you know what? I think you like can't even find those anymore. I think at least some of the Sony Blu-rays go for like a shitload of money now.
Wow, so we're sitting on gold.
Yeah, I mean,
mine's unopened too.
Oh wow! You know, I'm gonna look it up. Birth of Mothra. Let's see how much this goes for. Okay, that one's still pretty cheap. That's still only $11.99.
Oh, well, that's $11.99 I can use towards groceries.
Yeah, it is. I think it's, it might be the DVDs, not the Blu-rays.
Oh,
that are really expensive. What was the other one what were the other ones I get? Was there 2 or 3 of them?
I think there were 3. I do not remember what they were though.
Godzilla. I know one of them was Godzilla 2000, and that's still pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, that was the one that had the
Japanese cut. That was the first time the Japanese cut had been available in the States.
Yeah, I remember that.
Should have stayed unavailable in my
opinion. And then I went home and watched it, and I was like, this kind of sucks.
It's kind of boring.
Kind of boring. Like, I'm gonna watch the American one instead. Yeah, it's much better.
The Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla Blu-ray is $35, so that's a little more expensive. Destroya and Megaguirus is still pretty cheap. Final Wars and Tokyo SOS is still normal, as is... Maybe it's just the Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Mothra that's really expensive. Hold on. Versus King Ghidorah. Oh, no, that's still pretty cheap. I could have sworn at some point I saw it going for like in the triple digits of pricing. Maybe not anymore.
You're going to have to cut some of this out. We are going way off the rails.
Never. I will never cut anything out. Not in my life.
Okay.
Moving on. The comic book history of Godzilla, as in Marvel, Dark Horse, IDW, and the MonsterVerse tie-ins. We kind of did that on our comic episode that I carried because you didn't read anything.
Yep.
We should that's an episode we should do a revamp on, if anything.
I do agree that we should do a revamp. There are definitely some that I think we could afford to do revamps on, mainly because of the way that we've changed how we do planning for the show.
Yeah, for
probably would benefit. And it's all thanks to Evangelion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Without Evangelion, we would probably
possible.
We would probably still maybe be a mess.
We probably are. We still are a mess, Brian.
We still are a mess, but at least we put some.
We're an organized mess.
We're functioning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last idea I had here was toxicity in the fandom, which we've covered sometimes, not as like its own topic, but we've definitely talked about it.
I feel like we've covered it specifically with our we had that. What was it? It was like current. Let me look. I think it was the future of Western Kaiju episode. We were talking about it a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't
know. I mean,
this show has kind of blended together for me in a lot of ways.
A lot of it has blended together, yeah. But I feel like a lot of our newer episodes have definitely been more streamlined,
for sure,
in discussion. But I feel like there was a couple episodes there where we were talking very heavily about MonsterVerse, and I think we brought up toxicity with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think making an episode entirely centered around the toxicity of the fandom is necessarily a good idea.
I agree.
Just because, like, you know, we're here to talk about the stuff that we, you know, stuff that's interesting, and people being negative is, I mean, it can be interesting, but it's
what would most
negative.
likely happen is that
it's gonna bum you out.
Yeah, exactly. we would probably just get irrationally angry at people, and then we ourselves will become toxic because of that.
Yeah, it's just like
you can't really fight toxicity with toxicity.
Yeah, so you would have to, like, the only way we could really address it is by, like, finding statements from someone and then rebutting them in, like, a, you know, a well-mannered, like, structured way.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, like, for instance, there was, like, that one episode, I don't remember which episode it was, but there was that dude who was releasing the fucking book, and he was, like, a terrible person.
Yeah.
And we talked about him, and then, like, I think the episode after, there was, like, an update on it, and, you know, we talked about it, and we were just like, you know, I thought that was fine, but, like, making an entire episode about that.
Yeah, no.
It's just, I couldn't do that. Like, maybe in a news segment.
Which is what we've historically done with stuff like this. We've done it as in the news segment.
And I think we kind of do it whenever we cover, like, r/Godzilla stuff. Because sometimes there are, like, posts. Like, there was that one guy who was saying, like, if you only like the MonsterVerse, then you're, like, racist.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
It was like that. That is toxic.
I mean, to be fair, Brian, it's Reddit and also Twitter.
That's true.
They're just, like, toxic in general.
Yeah.
I use both very often, but it's still very toxic.
I think there's, like, the best way to handle, like, toxicity is just, like, just a small segment, 10, 15 minutes talking about it, talk about whatever.
But yeah, that's
just me.
That was the last topic I had, and the last section I have in this little pitch is music ? So first off, I have plenty of scores at my disposal because I have a lot of them all of them downloaded now, actually. Maybe get in touch with Johnny and Connor for original compositions. Hey, guess what? I did that. That's the music you hear at the beginning and the end of the episodes from my good pals Johnny Gifford and Connor Murphy. They were kind enough to make me some music. I've talked about it before, and I'm talking about it again because that's what we're talking about on the pitch. They were kind enough to make that music for me. I sent them a bunch of a couple of tracks from various films, and I was like, use any of these to get some inspiration. This is the kind of what some of my favorite music from the films. Go nuts. And they did, and they made some really good music for it, and I'm still very, very, very happy with what they gave me. Original stuff used for intro and outro, which is what we have, and then I also have film music spliced in throughout. To date, we have not done that, and I don't think I ever will.
I don't really think that's a very good way of pacing the episode.
Yeah, I think my idea was, like, having it, you know, at a low volume in the background of us talking, but I feel like that even at a low volume, it might be distracting. I don't know.
Could be. It may be something worth to, like, maybe try out.
Yeah.
See how it sounds. Maybe someday.
Maybe on our music episode, we'll try it out and see how it works. I don't know.
That could be cool. Like, if we start talking about, like, something specific and then play that music very subtly in the back. Maybe.
I have historically been using when I have to make an edit for like if it's something like, you know, you're watching something live while we're recording, and I'll be like, oh, here, go watch this, and then instead of just like, obviously I can't have it just as like dead air, because that's not how
Boring.
editing works. But it's still weird to be like, just immediately cut from me, here, watch this, and you'll be like, oh, that was cool. That's just kind of weird. So what I've done is I've just spliced in like random roars as like cut breaks. So it'll be like, here, go watch this, and then like you'll hear Mechagodzilla's roar, and then you'll come back in like, oh, that was cool. That's what I've been doing for stuff like that.
I kind of like that.
It's a good idea.
I don't know. Like, I was just like thinking, like, well, now that you have me thinking about it, like with like potential background music, like I don't know, like there's some like ambient tracks that you could use where it's just like super subtle.
We have Godzilla versus Anguirus playing on a loop for the entire time.
Yeah. Or even there's like some of the music from like Ibra, like you put that on, that'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
The surfer rock music.
But yeah, and there's obviously this would likely be edited in afterwards, because we're not gonna have it fucking playing on the podcast while we record. That's a terrible idea, especially considering now the way we're doing this now, because you're a continent away.
3,000 ish. 3,500 miles away.
Exactly. So it wouldn't work. It absolutely wouldn't work now. So
yeah,
but it wouldn't have worked back then either, because it would have, but it would have been stupid.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we have done it just in post? It's dumb. I don't know what I was thinking. It wouldn't.
Idiot.
But yeah, that's the Talking Toku podcast pitch.
That is more normal than I was thinking it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just like madness.
No, it was for an assignment, so I had to make it like professional.
True. All right.
But yeah, that's that. That actually took longer than I anticipated to go over. We were at our usual time for an episode.
Yeah.
I was expecting this to be a shorter episode, actually, but here we are.
Me too. I was also thinking it was gonna be shorter. Well, let me pose a question. Dave, where do you want to see this go in the future?
Godzilla.
Godzilla? Okay.
That's my answer. No, I don't know. Like I said, there's clear we discussed. There's still a couple episode ideas that we have in there that we haven't covered. I don't know. I that's a good question. I haven't really thought about where I want to go in the future with this. I mean, obviously, I assume you're in the same agreement with me. Like, we want to keep doing this. We have a lot of fun doing it, and we want to do it for the foreseeable future. Until COVID ends up killing us all, and it leads to the end of the world. I lost my train of thought.
It feels like COVID's kind of going away a little bit.
Little bit.
Feels like it. Maybe it's because I live in the middle of nowhere now.
Yeah, that's true. It's Boston's still kind of. I mean, my family's going on vacation tomorrow as of recording this, and the only reason I'm not is because, like, not sure I'm cool with getting on a plane just yet, and going to Florida of all places.
Ooh, I'm going on a plane next month, actually.
Where the hell are you going?
Massachusetts.
Oh,
PAX East.
Oh, right.
Oh, you should go. There's still badges left.
I'm not fucking going to a big convention.
Oh yeah,
sure as hell I'm going to PAX.
All right.
Gamers are filthy, Brian.
You're right, they are filthy, but Keegan and I want to hang out, so. Oh well.
We can hang out outside
Anyways,
of PAX.
I can tell you what I hope for the future of the show. I don't know.
I can tell you what I want for the future. I don't know.
That's a lie.
Didn't even
I don't know. I really like doing this, and I hope that, like, we, obviously I hope that we grow and we get more listeners and maybe like some fans or whatever. And that's a big if.
I think a large part
like,
of that is that we need to like actually promote it more than we do, because what we do now is like less than the bare minimum.
Yeah, I think we do a pretty good job with, I mean, some of the things that I think we do a good job on is you and I are pretty, relatively speaking, we're pretty concise on how we feel about stuff. We're good at talking about things. We're good conversationalists.
Mm-hmm.
So like the content of the episodes is generally pretty good. Could be more focused, which is an ongoing thing that we're probably going to get better at in the future.
Brian, I don't think we're ever going to get better at it. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't foresee us getting any better at it.
I think
that's part of the
planning.
Charm.
I mean more in like in the planning.
Okay, I got you.
Of the show. So like, how I said, like, like with the music episode, we want to put like at least like a solid month's work into that.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we usually do, which is we like kind of come up with a rough idea of what we want to do immediately after the recording of an episode, and then like a week or maybe sometimes even a day before deciding we want to do something else. Instead, we could commit to ideas on a larger timetable, so we have more time to like do whatever. Because like like I don't like to use my life as an excuse to not do things that we plan on doing, but like sometimes when we are just like, all right, we're gonna watch this movie or this show, and then we're gonna cover it. And sometimes, as a full-time working adult, sometimes it just is hard to do that with a 1 week or sometimes even a 2 week notice, depending on what time of year it is. So I don't know, like just like that kind of thing. Like the more time that we allow for preparation of episodes, I think is the better. So I'm sure we'll get better at that through practice.
Yeah.
I think we should attempt to try and do some more outreach to find fans. I think that getting more guests on would probably help with that.
It probably would, and we've talked about having other guests aside from that list I have on the show before. Like I know I've mentioned Ron Bonk from oh god, I'm blanking on the company. SRS.
We're doing this a lot today.
Wow. SRS Cinema. Yeah, I've talked about getting Ron Bonk on. I've talked about getting Jordan Farrow from Oxygen Destroyer on, which would be really cool.
That would be really awesome because that combines two things that we love, which is metal and Godzilla.
It would, and you go find them. You're like in the area. I'm pretty sure they're from like Oregon or something.
Oh shit, really?
Oregon, Washington. Yeah, I think they're from Portland, Oregon. So it's a bit of a drive for you, but still.
That's 4 hours. It's like driving to New York.
Go find them and kidnap them and pick them on the show.
I'm not kidnap them. I drive a Toyota Camry. I don't have room to kidnap people.
Okay, well, just go find him and be like, hey man, I got a Godzilla podcast, want to be on? And he'll be like, no. And then you
like
drive
you
back.
might know my friend David Scrivani.
I've talked to him a couple times. I asked him about where to watch the 1980 film Alligator, and that was it.
Wow.
And he said, let me get back to you. I'm at work right now. And then he never did.
Serves you right.
In my defense, he had posted that he had watched it like 2 weeks ago, and I was trying to figure out where to watch it because I really wanted to watch it. So I'm like, oh, let me ask Jordan because I know he just watched it recently. And then I asked him, and then he said, okay. And then he never got back to me.
Big ears.
I'm sorry, Jordan.
God damn it. All right, well.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then also, like, maybe, I mean, more like my own personal goal is, like, I want to get, like, a better microphone, but that's more of a me thing. It would also be nicer to, like, find a better day than a Monday immediately after work to record.
Well, it's kind of hard to do that when you are 3 hours behind me, Brian.
This is fair.
Because, like, the station here is only open so late.
I'm telling you to get a microphone and record at home.
Oh, my God. I guess. We'll see.
I don't know.
I mean,
Up to you.
I have told you it is my goal that by the end of the year I want a PC, and if I get a PC, I can get a good microphone, and then edit
True.
on my own.
true.
Because Lord knows I will not be able to do it on that fucking ancient laptop I have.
Yeah, the one that sounds like a vacuum cleaner when you
Yes.
turn it on. Yeah.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah. Well, that's what I am looking for. Obviously, there's like a whole lot of episode ideas, some that were mentioned here that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly, my long-term goals for this is just like getting more organized on my part, because I've been lacking personally a little bit with organization, because I've been a very busy boy.
A very busy Brian.
I've been a very busy Brian, doing my Brian thing, getting hit in the face by a rifle scope.
Nice. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, for our listeners, I went to the gun range with my friend Corey, and he said, "Hey, Brian, can you zero in this rifle scope?" And I was like, "Okay." Wow, this scope sucks. It's from the 40s. And then I wasn't paying attention to where my face was, because I usually shoot this rifle without a scope on. Pulled the trigger. Rifle came back, hit me right in the face. I got a big old cut on my nose and on my eyebrow, and the one on my eyebrow is definitely gonna scar.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Battle scars.
chicks will love it.
I was about to say the ladies will love it.
Yeah, they'll love it. They'll be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
You know, what did you do? Did you get attacked? No, I'm just a fucking idiot.
No, I'm just an idiot who forgot where his face was while shooting a gun.
Oh god. All right.
Well, that was my off-topic story of the day.
That's okay. We go on so many tangents on this show, Brian. It's incredible. But
It's true.
that about wraps it up for our main topic. We can move on to our what new cool kaiju thing are you checking out right now, Brian? Is there any new cool kaiju thing you're checking out right now?
Sorta,
Okay.
but it was a checked out.
Okay.
So I watched Turning Red with a friend.
Oh, you did? Yes.
I did.
Nice. I
There
meant to
is-
mention that.
There is a kaiju at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for the end of the film, but it is a secret kaiju film.
It took me like a little bit to like think about the movie and like how I felt about it.
Mhm.
I liked it.
I liked it too. I
Good.
think the message gets kind of muddled in the middle, but it gets back on track by the end, I think.
My big problem with it is that like it had the same problem that like Ultraman did, where like I needed to check myself for like what I was expecting,
Mm.
because like immediately I was just like, I cannot deal with these characters. They are just they are too upbeat and too nice and too supportive of each other.
I'm too
And I was like,
depressed
oh,
and
right.
jaded
I was
to appreciate
I was
these
like-
characters.
Oh right, this is a kids movie meant for kids, and I am an adult who is sad almost all the time.
Yeah.
So I need to like check. I need to check make sure that my expectations are correct. And after a couple days of thinking about it, I was like, you know what? The movie was good. It was upbeat, and I liked it.
Yeah. I really liked it too. I mean, I think
And
it's
also, all the shitty discourse around the movie needs to stop.
yeah, okay. So I want to talk about that because like most of the discourse is like, oh, it looks terrible. Like Pixar fell off, and it's like this is like
No, it
one of
doesn't.
Pixar's best looking films I've ever like visually. It is incredible. Like the film
It was
overall is good, but like the
really-
visuals were really what shocked me about how good it was. Like it is such, it is just so pleasing to look at.
Yeah. No, it was a really good looking movie, and I think the other thing that I really enjoyed was all the use of color.
Yes,
Very colorful movie.
Mhm.
Very appreciative of that. But yeah, kaiju section
Yeah,
at the end.
I don't know if this is actually the case, but the fact that that finale takes place at a big like a big arena, my mind immediately went to the scene in Gamera Guardian of the Universe where they trap the Gauss and Gamera shows up. Like I'm like, this is a Gamera reference. I don't know if that's actually the case, but that's immediately where my mind went to.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, but let me dream, Brian.
You can dream, but I'm going to tell you that the only reason it ended up in a stadium was because the big thing that the mailing wanted to go to is fucking concert.
I know, but it's
And
still
of course
fun
it
to
had to
think
be
about.
it had to be in a stadium. it literally could not have been anywhere else.
Yeah, I know. But no, yeah, Turning Red's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is very discouraging to see like all the shitty takes that people have about it.
Yeah, it's a
But,
shame.
but I
Pixar has
think-
not failed ever since what's Soul? Soul was the first one that they have been on. They've been a streak on. Soul, Luca, and now Turning Red. They have all been bangers.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
They're very good.
Because I guess a friend wanted to watch it, so I watched it.
Yeah, and I'm also
Glad I did.
very excited for Lightyear. Lightyear looks like it's gonna be rad.
Oh, I forgot that was happening. Wow, I'm really forgetful about what shit's coming out. Wow. Other thing, I finished Elden Ring. There are big monsters in there.
There you go.
They're kaiju. You can argue with me all day, and I'll also tell you that it's a Japanese game. So, yeah, it's good. It took me 160 hours of my life to finish it.
Very nice. Good job getting another Elden Ring mention in there, Brian.
Well, when I told you how many hours it took, we hadn't started recording yet. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, yeah. There's a metaphorical kaiju. It's a kaiju of a game because it takes so long to beat.
Shut the fuck
there we
up.
go.
Shut up.
That's the exact kind of thing you would say, Ryan. Don't lie to me.
There are actually giant dragons in this game.
I'm aware.
Huge.
All right.
Big.
Well, let me talk about the kaiju thing I've been checking out. It's a doozy. Let me tell you.
Right.
So, as I said last time and earlier on this episode, I've been following a friend of the show, Jared's slow Shoha Toho marathon, and most recent one I watched was a little 1955 film called Half Human. Now, Brian, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume you've never seen Half Human, and there's a big reason for that. That film's been banned pretty much since the 1950s because of its very disgustingly racist depiction of indigenous people.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I watched a really shitty rip of it from a television broadcast from like the 1980s, and that was the last time it was ever shown. It was for like some film festival or something. It was Ishiro Honda's film he made directly after the original Godzilla, and it also stars Akira Takarada and Momoko Kochi. It's the film both of them were in directly after Godzilla. So, and it's probably not the best. Probably wasn't the best choice to celebrate Akira Takarada's life, but it just ended up being the one, being what I did do. Honestly, it's kind of boring. like yeah, all the racist stuff is really bad. Like these people are kind of depicted as savages. They're deformed and they're like beating each other with sticks, and like hanging people by like from a rope off a cliff. It's very similar to like a lot of what you'd see in various King Kong films, like the Skull Island people, except in Kong Skull Island. But it's a lot like that. And the worst part of it is, I believe what it is they're actually meant to represent an actual indigenous people that exists. They're not like a fictional race of people. And like the actual people, it's Burakumin. They're like civilized people. They're not like these tribal savages. So you could see where the problem arises here.
Oh no.
Yeah, but all in all, it's kind of boring. Like the first half works pretty well as like a Universal style monster movie, but then it's just I at a certain point I just kind of tuned way out to the point where like when I put my review up on Letterboxd, I got called out for not realizing how racist it was because I had tuned out so much and I just didn't remember like how racist it actually was.
You got called out.
I did
You
get
got put
called
on
out.
blast.
I did, and I was like, "Oh God, I hope I'm not actually a racist. I haven't been secretly racist this whole time." But yeah, no, it's a
Dave is
It's
officially canceled.
oh no, but yeah, it's just a very boring movie. Like the suit, like the snowman suit. It's an abominable snowman movie. It's a good suit. I'll give it that. The effects are good, but like the movie's just boring, man. Like I'm trying to think of like what happens after the first half, and I'm drawing a blank. I really am. So honestly, it's probably for the best that the film remains banned.
I mean, at least it's like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So like, people aren't just like, oh, you should watch it, but like also it's racist.
Yeah.
Instead, you just like avoid it altogether.
Yeah. It's for the best. You know, if it was like good and racist, like I wouldn't justify the racism, but like I might still be able to recommend it if it was still a good movie, because there are plenty of good movies that all still have some very racist undertones to them, but this is not one of them. This is just a very boring movie that happens to be like more racist than most movies are.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of racist movies, especially Western ones.
Yes,
too.
exactly.
But those ones, I think people don't really watch.
Yeah, no, not really.
A lot of them are very old.
Mm.
Some of them aren't. But Hollywood's always been pretty like. Actually, no, that's a fucking lie. No, I haven't.
No.
Hollywood recently
yeah.
has tried to be like fucking walking on eggshells and stuff.
Mhm.
Super careful, but like I don't know, back in like 2 decades ago or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they didn't care as much.
No.
But yeah, so Half Human, it's boring. Don't watch it. It's boring and it's racist.
It's like,
don't watch it.
It makes me halfway unconscious.
That was
maybe even fully unconscious.
That was kind of.
It was real bad.
That was one of the worst you've ever done, Brian. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
I know.
You didn't.
I'm really.
You would have
really
been better
good.
off not even attempting.
I have a unique talent at making some of the worst jokes.
You do.
That
you
just
really
are not even funny. It just makes people want to
the fact that you said halfway and not half, like had you said half, it would have been better. But you used halfway instead.
Yep.
God,
that's my superpower. It's just making. just cut
Christ.
that out. Just cut it out.
I am not. I'm putting this on for the world to see, Brian.
All right. Well, no one listens to us anyways.
So. All right. I think that's the show.
Yeah.
Go follow us at Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Talking Toku.
Definitely Instagram.
Definitely Instagram. Come join the Kaiju United Discord to chat with me and also Brian, but mostly me because I don't think Brian sent a single message in the server anywhere.
I lurk.
Yeah. So yeah, do that, and then feel free to @ Brian to get him to interact. Like I did that one time, and then it didn't work. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of what I expected. But
you added me when?
Yeah. I don't remember. It was like some movie or game or something that you had played and or watched. I can't remember what it was. I don't remember. It was like maybe a month ago now. I don't remember.
I don't think I ever got a ping, Dave.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I added you, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh, well.
But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Talking Toku, and Kaiju United Discord server, and Facebook group. The server is a little more active than the Facebook group, but, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, you can go interact with us and say hi, and that maybe that's where you can send your questions, your FAQ. We can answer some questions on the show, and yeah, and we can tell you all our deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes. I want to talk about my deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes, on a show about giant monsters.
What kaiju would you go on a date with?
Oh shit! I just realized Friday is literally April Fool's, Brian.
Oh no!
Oh, we missed it. We missed our opportunity to do an April Fool's episode.
That's fine.
Oh well. Sorry, everyone.
There's always next year.
There's always next year, or maybe
Actually,
we get
you know
super meta with it. We get super meta with it, and our joke is that it's just a normal episode. Everyone's expecting an April Fool's Day episode because we talked about doing an April Fool's Day episode on other episodes, but the April Fool's Day episode is just a normal episode.
And then
they never see it coming.
The episode after this one is the April Fool's.
There we go. That works too.
or instead of that, we just make this our final episode ever.
That's not a bad idea either, honestly.
This
April
is like
Fools,
the
we're
end,
ending the show.
This is like if you were doing like a case study. This is like our result where we
Yeah.
our debrief. This is our debrief.
That's I like that idea. I don't think that's what we're gonna go with, but I like the idea.
Yeah, April Fools, everybody. You can all go home now.
God, that's funny. Oh well.
I had to make up for that bad joke somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we'd workshopped a couple ideas for an April Fool's Day episode, but we never really found anything good. So it's probably
I don't
the
think
best.
there would have been anything that was going to be solid or
Yeah.
funny. Oh no, we were going to talk about Tall Girl.
I mean, we mentioned that, but I don't think we settled on that being what we were gonna do.
No, that's what we were going to do.
I don't remember that. I remember bringing it up as a funny haha, and I don't think we actually agreed to do that.
We were going to talk about. All right, let's end this episode.
Well, there's
please.
Tall Girl, and now there's Tall Girl 2 as well, so we have to do a double feature.
Tall Girl 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Okay. All right. With that, I am David.
I'm Brian.
And we will see you guys next time. I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll still see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.